Hello, everyone. Well, how do we access our subconscious mind? We all have all these memories that are etched in our brain, right? But what is the vehicle? What is the tool? Sound therapy is one of the tools that we are going to be discussing with Lucia. Lucia is joining me live from LA. She is a sound therapist. Thank you so much, Lucia, for joining me and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's just talk about, the use of sound as a vehicle to get to people's subconscious mind and helping them.
Yeah. Um, well, a lot of people don't realize that you can tap into your subconscious mind. And tool is one of those, a tool to get there is sound. So on a typical day-to-day basis, right, we're at work, we're checking off a to-do list, we're checking off our tasks. That brainwave state that we're in is called the beta brainwave state. We're talking to one another, we're checking off to-do lists, all of that kind of stuff, and going about our daily lives. In the beta brainwave state, you have your subconscious mind kind of in the background, quieted, while your conscious mind is very on and alert. A level relaxed from that brainwave state is the alpha brainwave state. So an alpha brainwave state is when you're kind of sun tanning on a beach. Maybe you're on vacation. Maybe you're enjoying some time at the park. You are not so consciously aware of everything that you have to do or a running list. You're just a little bit more relaxed and more at ease. A level relaxed even more under that is the theta brainwave state. And that is where all of our subconscious thoughts, habits all live. And the theta brainwave state is like right before you're about to fall asleep. It's when you're like daydreaming and kind of in a whole different world. And your conscious mind is mostly off and your subconscious mind is mostly on. And then even a deeper level relaxed under that is the delta brainwave state. And that's when you're sleeping. Your conscious mind is off. Your subconscious mind is fully on in the dream world and allowing your body to take some rest. So I use sound mainly as a tool to help us get back to that theta brainwave state, making the brain go from beta, then to alpha, and then to theta using sounds like singing bowls, tuning forks, chimes, all those kinds of instruments create this drone that allow your brain to be entrained into a more relaxed place, which is that subconscious mind space in the theta brainwave state. That's like a
Okay.
crash course on brainwave states.
No, I think it's fascinating. Maybe you could share some story of how you've helped one of your clients, and when they are into the subconscious state, kind of thoughts they are sharing with you, kind of visual imagery that's coming, because that's also part of what we are thinking, right? When you say, "Oh, remember when you were a kid," and then immediately, you remember, "Oh, running into your grandmom's house," or something like that. So explain to us what happens that journey.
Yeah, so the way that I set up my sound within sessions in particular, um, it's 75 minutes, right? And I'm talking to a client for the first 10 or 15 minutes to really set an intention on what it is they're looking to find within. And it's typically something that has to do around transforming limiting beliefs, finding mental clarity, or healing through trauma. So, for example, I have a client who has had trouble with their sexual identity, and there's a lot of shame that comes from what this person has experienced. And we set an intention to really dive into transforming that shame into self-compassion. And as we're diving into the sound meditation, I'm, using singing bowls, using chimes, using tuning forks, all of these things to allow this person to get more relaxed. And I'm using my voice in a very particular way as well, to get that mind to relax and allowing them to talk back to me as they're seeing all of these different things. So for example, we'll like maybe go into a cloud in this meditation, and in that cloud you see some doors that bring you to this intention and to find clarity on why is it that I felt shame about this particular topic. And they'll describe to me what the door looks like maybe it's a yellow door with flowers on it. All of that stuff that client is telling me is living in their subconscious mind. I am not making it up. I'm not telling them what they're seeing. But clearly this yellow door has some sort of significance. And then they'll walk through this door and they'll tell me what they see. And it may be a memory that comes up with their parents. It may be a beautiful scenery that they're looking at. They may be interacting with people that they love. They may be interacting with ancestors. Sometimes I also will invite help or guide. So whether that's calling in ancestors or calling in any sort of guide that wants to show up. A guide can show up and look like a teddy bear from their childhood. A guide can show up and look like an angel of sorts. It all is manifested in somebody's subconscious thought, right? It's it already lives within them. And it's been really powerful to see what some people will generate in these kinds of sessions. Like I have had somebody interact with a grandmother who had passed away. I've had somebody interact with loved ones, and this stuff can get really intimate and really intense. But the only way a person is able to actually get that intimate with that part of their mind is if they feel relaxed enough to do that. It's harder to do when we're just talking and having a coffee and you're telling me about a limiting belief that you have about not feeling worthy enough or feeling shame. And then it's tough to actually get to those deeper layers. So the sound is really a beautiful tool to help the body and the mind relax to actually get there. And then once we're done with the session, we'll come back and we'll land together, and I'll just relay back to them what they experienced, and in a way like mirror what's happening. And things may stick out. They might add more details about what they saw or what they experienced. And I equip them. I'm also a leadership coach as well. So I'll just equip them with some tools to integrate that experience, and ensure that they feel supported and ready to take on the rest of their day.
I think that's fascinating. So it's actually like counseling, but in a different way, right? Like a psychotherapist would talk, or it's more like a talk counseling, but this is sound, using sound as a counseling and getting the negative thoughts out of the brain, right? So how many sessions do people really need to start feeling better, in your opinion?
I've seen one session truly transform people. I've had people describe it sort of as lucid dreaming, but you are awake. And it's also just a very intentional journey. But oftentimes I'm working with people either weekly, every other week. Monthly is rare for me, but I am seeing people on a consistent basis. And every single time we're kind of building on what we explored last time. Sometimes I'm giving homework as well. And my clients sometimes will see this as an alternative to therapy. If they're not really comfortable, talking to a therapist, like normal. But I also see it as I'm helping you heal yourself, right? Because as I said, I'm not telling these people what to see and what to envision. I am guiding them. I'm not a licensed therapist, so I just also want to say that. But I do believe that we already are healed within, like all of that is within us. And, we sometimes need some guidance to be able to tap into that. And sound has just been a really powerful tool to do that.
Fascinating. Yes, absolutely. And you are the guide along with the sound, the sound,
Right.
all the instruments that you're bringing along with the guiding them with their thoughts or whatever is going on in their subconscious mind, so that they can start getting more clarity or confidence or less anxiety or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What are some of the issues that people will come to you? Maybe you can just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I definitely have some folks who are just looking for more self-compassion for themselves and even for other people. I have some folks who, so I mainly work with leaders of some sort. So people who consider themselves a leader, a manager, somebody who's working on, a mission towards a big goal. They might be a creative leader as well. And all of these folks that I work with have challenges in terms of, they're constantly focused on supporting other people, helping other people, but don't always have that time for themselves. There are people who have an awareness that their mental health is important, but don't always have time for that. And also people who have an awareness that in order to change the world, or starting to come to the awareness that in order to change the world, you must change from within first. And so a lot of the folks that I'm working with, they are maybe looking for knowing that there's something blocking them, like their inspiration is sort of gone. They feel like they've just been in the day-to-day kind of motions. They might be dealing with anxiety, stress, depression. They may be dealing with relationship issues and challenges, communication as well. Or they may have gone through some serious trauma in the past. Like I mentioned, somebody having this sort of shame around their sexual identity. They've experienced trauma from that. I myself, being someone who has experienced sexual trauma, clearly I'm attracting some folks who experience the same. And so that kind of comes in. A lot of inner child work comes in as well. So finding ways to soothe that inner child. As I think a lot of the things that happen to us as an adult have a lot to do with those years from 0 to 7, which funny enough, that is where the only time in our life where we lived in the theta brainwave state. The theta brainwave state is where we developed our subconscious thoughts, our habits, behaviors. If I constantly saw my mom giving to other people when I was 5 years old, I may actually have a tendency to also be giving to other people all the time, maybe to my detriment. So while that may not be a negative trait in general, that could have actually caused me damage in my adult life. So it's stuff like that we get to go through in the kind of sound healing journeys that I offer.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I think that gives a very comprehensive overview of what the sound healing can offer to anyone who wants to go through this journey. It sounds like a beautiful journey. I've never tried it, but I'm definitely going to try, like a guided session. That's what sounds like is beautiful. Thank you so much, Lucia, for sharing your story and sharing one of your clients' story. Really appreciate that. To all the viewers out there, thank you so much for supporting us. We are over 200,000 followers now. Every day we're bringing you 10 minutes of holistic knowledge from all over the world. So please keep supporting and take some, take some value from this. That's all our request is. Thank you. Anything else you'd like to add, Lucia, before I wrap up?
Yeah, for sure. So I offer virtual sessions to people all over the world. So if you're interested in my work, please visit lucialuminate.com and you can learn so much more there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mita.
Yes, absolutely. Bye-bye.